Here we have a review of the Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper Jedha Patrol from Rogue One. On the front of the box we do have a nice view at the Stormtrooper as well as his accessories, which are a rifle, his backpack down in the bottom, as well as the antenna which attaches to the backpack. On the side of the box we do have some nice artwork of the figure with the Star Destroyer that he reports to with that antenna. On the back we do have that same artwork, a description on the character, legal at the bottom, nothing on the side, more legal on the bottom, and then view pane at the top. Here we have the accessories for the Jedha Stormtrooper. We do get quite a bit of accessories for a standard release. Hasbro has been moving to deluxe packaging for figures with more accessories, so I am impressed with the amount of accessories we do get with this figure. Starting off, we do have the rifle. I believe this is the same mold that we've seen for the Sand Trooper, so no real difference here. Do have some good detailing. It is a single tone for the paint. We have our backpack here as well, which does have a lot of nice detailing. This is a fully new sculpt for it, and it looks pretty great. A lot of really nice details there. The straps for this do unpeg from the top. It's a bit of a long peg, so you have to work it a little bit to get it out, but you can unplug that so you can strap it over the arms. And again, because it is a bit of a long peg, it takes a little bit of work to get back in there. There we go. We do have a little bit of mold in here, and that's just to go over the back of the Stormtrooper, so it'll fit snugly on his backside. And then we have the antenna, which does plug directly into the back of the backpack there. To review the actual figure itself. So there's not a lot new in terms of the body of this figure. This is the same Stormtrooper mold that we've seen in the past. We do have a new pauldron here. I believe that's different from the Sand Trooper. It looks different. So I think this is the only new piece on the actual figure. We do have all the new accessories, but for the figure, the only new piece is that pauldron. And the pauldron is not attached. So I know for some figures, like with the Clone Troopers, they have glued the pauldron on there. This one is pretty loose. So if you were to remove the helmet, use some hot water to pop off that head, then you could take this off and you would have just a regular Stormtrooper. So that's a nice little way to mod this, and gives you a little bit more mileage out of the figure, which is great. In terms of the paint app, so we do have a pretty clean paint app on the helmet there. I'm not seeing any defects. And then there's not really a lot in terms of paint for the rest of the body. So for the articulation, you can look forward about that far, backwards that far, arm comes up that far. Can't do a full 360 because of the shoulder armor, but you do get a pretty good range of motion in either direction. The elbow comes about there, rotate and swivel at the wrist. For our torso articulation, so you can do a little bit of a crunch forward, more of a slouch, bit better on the back side, a little bit of side to side rotation. For our legs, comes up about that far, forwards, nice distance, backwards, not as much. We're restricted by that butt armor, the booty armor there. Do have a bit of a hip swivel there, and about a little more than 90 degrees on the knee. Then for the foot, you can go back about that far, forwards about that much, And then a little bit of rotation there, swivel there as well. Now for the accessories and attaching those, so I did mention that you can unplug the backpack because it is challenging to unplug it and plug it back in. I'm hoping I can put this on by just doing the one side and not have to mess with the other. And it looks like I should be able to, so I can slide his arm in, and then this one, that actually should be going to assume going on the outside is probably the best way. So you do have the lower strap on the pauldron there, which is getting in the way, but I think maybe oh, because now it's in the way on the back side. So I think actually this needs to go on the inside portion of that, and that's, I would suspect, why they did not glue the pauldron on, because it is really in the way of trying to put the backpack on here. I'm not even, I feel like that is not the best way to do this. So I'm not sure, it doesn't seem like the bottom of this unplugs, and I'm very hesitant to pull any harder because I don't want to break it. Let's try this again. Yeah, that is definitely not going to work on the outside of the strap. It's just not going to make it into that plug. So you do have to somehow figure out a way to get this through here. The easiest way probably would be popping off the head and removing this pauldron, which feels like a lot more work than you should have to do to put on an accessory. We may have to do that though. So hopefully this head pops off pretty easily. Just trying to push back on the chin. That sometimes works, but I may need to warm it up. Yeah, so I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm gonna try off camera to see if I can do it without removing the helmets. And if not, I will remove the helmet to get that on there to see how it looks. All right, so I was able to get that on off camera without having to remove the helmet. It did take a bit of work, and I did have to use some hobby tweezers, so a thin pair of hobby tweezers, to really pull that through. Yeah, so I just stuffed it in there, used the tweezers to sort of pull it over the shoulder and pull it down through. It is hard to plug that in because the plug was hard to put in the first place, let alone now where I can't even push properly because that pauldron is in the way. But I don't know another way of doing it, because with that pauldron there, you're gonna have to plug in on the inside of the strap regardless. So I don't think you need to remove that one, but it is hard to get that in there fully, which is probably why they did the indentation in the backpack for it to fit more snugly on the frame of the Stormtrooper, just because of how difficult that is. I do have to say, once it's on, it looks really good. It looks great, to be honest, but that was way more effort than it should have been. And to be frank, if it's going to be that much effort, it should have been on in the package. There's no reason why I, as the collector, should have to go through that much effort to put on a backpack. It's a bit ridiculous, but again, once it's on there, it looks fantastic. And for our height, the Jedha Patrol Stormtrooper does stand at about 6 inches tall from foot to helmet, and about 8.5 inches tall to the top of his antenna. And for our size comparisons, here he is next to Bib Fortuna and Bosk. And here he is next to Fennec Shand and Boba Fett Tython version. And here he is next to Commander Cody and Migs Mayfield Morak version. Overall, the Jedha Patrol Stormtrooper is a really good looking figure with some pretty big challenges. The figure itself looks great, and the detailing in the backpack is fantastic. But where this figure falls short for me is the execution and the level of effort it takes to put on a simple accessory. As a collector, it should not be that challenging for me to put on an accessory that came with the figure out of the package. Let alone this is a toy line for kids available in mass retailers, so I really wish Hasbro would have rethought that execution and made it simpler to put the backpack on. That being said, the figure does look good, and I love that you can remove that pauldron to have a standard Stormtrooper. So whether you want to recreate scenes from Rogue One or you want more Stormtroopers for your arsenal, this is a good figure to add to your collection.